We're taking you back to one of our top stories this hour, where 9 people have been killed and others critically injured in a fuel tanker explosion in Boksburg. This is in the east of Johannesburg. The Ekurhuleni Disaster and Emergency Management Services say several people have been critically wounded. They say the driver of the truck, which belongs to LP Gas, drove under a low-lying bridge, scraping the top of the vehicle. For more on the story, we take you back to our reporter Patricia Visagie, who's live on the scene for us. Thank you so much for your time, Patricia. So what are some of the developments coming out of there in the East Rand? We also heard from some of the people you spoke to earlier coming out to say that the driver of this particular truck was whisked away in an ambulance. Were you able to confirm this, and what are some of the latest developments from there?
Well, some of the latest developments is that emergency service still have their hands full, of course, on the ground. You would understand the magnitude of the devastation that is taking place here, and rightfully so. The driver of that particular truck is alive. We cannot confirm exactly where he is right now. Yes, we do understand that he did get medical attention this morning, but whether he is still in hospital or whether he's released, that information has not come out yet. What we do know is that he is not severely injured. Of course, we also understand that several people have lost their lives. From what we heard earlier is that the fatality record is standing at about 8 people who have passed on. 2 are children, and many of them, many others are left injured in hospital. We also understand that among the injured is a minor, so that means that right now, the preliminary data that we have is confirming that about 3 children were affected by this particular blast. But the concern from emergency services is that many of the injured victims are critical. So there is that concern that the number of fatalities might rise, although we know that about 8 people are confirmed having passed on. As the day progresses, we might hear a different number. It might be much higher. But I'm now joined by Mr. Martin Potgieter. He is part of the emergency services. He is the chaplain there. So he is the man that has been hands-on. He has seen the devastation firsthand, and he'll just bring us up to speed. What is the latest from what you have seen inside?
We have seen that at the moment that all the people that is inside at the moment is being taken care of from the scene. We've got only the people that is left on the scene is the people that have been deceased. We're going to have now the site being cleared from all the parts of the persons that's on site here. There's a mother that lost her daughter, a son-in-law, and 3 of her sons. The third little boy is at the moment now being taken to a hospital where he have an amputated arm and things like that. So yes, we are feeling for the family, and we can just pray for them at this moment. We can really, as South Africa, just start praying for our nation and for people that went through this devastation at this time of the year. We wish it to nobody at this moment.
Just give us another, fuller picture. We want the viewers, wherever they are, who are watching, for them to just get the fuller picture of that devastation. You have now just given us very graphic detail of, the one victim who has lost a limb. Those who are injured, what are we dealing with here?
We have seen that at this moment that the devastation is looking like we're in Kosovo or any of the Ukraine or any of those places. That's just what it looks right around the corner.
It's like a war zone.
It's a war zone, okay. There's body parts lying from 3 blocks away from the scene. There's parts of the truck that's lying up to 5 streets up from here at the moment and things like that. So there's a lot of devastating, the bridge have collapsed underneath there. There's nothing left of that big truck that was parked underneath that got stuck there and things like that.
So it burned to ashes?
It burned to ashes. But it blow to ashes. But what I want to emphasize is people stop spectating where there's a big accident scene and things like that, because we could have been avoiding this whole thing, but people want to go and look what is going on, and at that point, critical point, this truck exploded and a lot of people got very much injured at this moment. Yeah.
You also earlier talked about plans that you emergency service personnel are embarking on to safeguard the area. Maybe share that with us.
What we have done is we share block off this area as a crime scene at the moment, but we also moved to another area where we're going to put up a triage system now, so that people can actually come and call on names of deceased and for family members that is missing, so that they can find out where they are in hospital or wherever they are.
All right. What are the needs? What are the burning needs on the ground, in particular to assist emergency services? You have a heavy task, a very daunting task on your hands to not just assist the victims, but to also safeguard the whole community.
This whole area now, as we are standing here, is most of these houses all got all broken windows and stuff like that. Our hospital is in devastate at the moment. Triage is completely offline at the moment. The maternity ward, we had to remove all the babies and stuff from maternity because the roof collapsed inside there. So there's a lot of things that happened here. It's what we really need is for people to stay away from this area, so that the emergency services can flow and they can connect to the area where we need to have people coming to this area that is in need to bring sources to this site and things like that for us.
What's your message to community members? What is it that they can do to also make your job easier?
We can just pray for us. Pray for us. That's all we can do at this moment, because at this moment there's not much that we can do to assist them at the moment that's inside there. We can just pray for these people and say, God, help them and be with us through this festival time that should have been glory and happiness. Now we have all this pain at this moment.
The truck has burned to ashes. Do you know where the truck driver is?
The truck driver is in hospital at the moment for shock and for treatment. That's all news that I do have about the truck driver.
Any foul play, negligence that you have detected?
Nothing that we have seen. I can't make a comment on any of those things because it's not my field that I am here. I'm here to assist the family members that is actually in mourn at the moment about their families and stuff like that.
I understand it and I respect that. We have learned that the truck got stuck on the bridge. We've spoken to some community members who are saying that in the many years that they've been living here, they've never seen a truck that big, in particular a tanker, trying to make its way under that bridge. The one gentleman saying that they always see trucks actually making U-turns because they can see it's dangerous. From your experience, you're an emergency service a worker. When you hear such a story, the risk that comes with perhaps what the truck driver has done, what does that tell us?
My opinion is just my opinion. It's not what I say. It's an expert opinion about it. Is that maybe this guy didn't know that the bridge is so low. He didn't know the height of the truck. When he entered underneath the bridge there, he got stuck there, started to have a fire there. He immediately get out of the vehicle and get the necessary help that he needed there. But unfortunately, people come and gathered around the bridge to come and have a look as spectators, and then this thing went up to a very high heat and it exploded. And this is what happened to the senior.
What a sad story. Certainly very, very sad how this whole thing happened, the gravity of the devastation. And you've heard the graphic detail here from Mr. Potgieter as he described the scene, what he saw, saying that it looked like a war zone. This is the type of scenes that he used to see in war-stricken areas, and today he observed it here. Children that are also affected, some having lost their lives, people who have lost their limbs. We've heard community members who were eyewitnesses talking about how they saw flesh peeling off people's bodies, and how they just saw the emotions as people were crying including firefighters who also were badly affected and badly injured as that truck exploded. But I think the fact that the truck driver is still alive, at least there we will be able to get some answers. He will be interrogated just to find out what exactly happened. How did it happen that he drove into this particular bridge? You've heard Mr. Potgieter saying that maybe the area was unfamiliar to him. He's not used to that particular bridge, and he didn't know that the bridge is too low for the truck. But that is information that will come out much later. We also understand that a lot of civil society NGOs have made it to the area to see what can they do to lend a hand. Gift of the Givers is here with a massive truck. We saw them, they just down the road, so we'll try to get an interview from them as well to find out what role will they be playing. Some of their team members are actually helping at the crime scene, some of them at the hospital, to also see where can they lend a hand for the emergency services. We have the SPCA that's also here. They've told us about some of the animals that they've already taken to safety. They're looking for more animals that might be trapped in particular the crime scene or nearby. So there's a lot of activity here. We've seen a lot of political groups that have also come, a lot of churches that have also flocked in. So people have come from all parts, all corners of the Boksburg areas and beyond to come and help. We've also learned that the Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi is also making his way here. He'll be addressing the media and also see what assistance his office can be giving to the emergency services and to the affected families. So a lot of updates, a lot of developments, but we'll try to give you every bit of the story that's happening here. Also try to speak to some of the families of the victims. Earlier we saw, traumatic scenes of how families broke down. The one lady, she literally collapsed as she was crying when she learned that one of her loved ones actually also died in this blast. So we'll try and locate some of those victims to also bring you the updates as to how are they feeling, how are they coping, what are their needs this hour.
Patricia Visagie is, of course, our reporter out there, making sure that she makes sense of some of the reports we've seen that coming out right now out of that tragic and horrific gas explosion this morning in the east of Johannesburg. Continuing to monitor developments there. No doubt we'll be touching base with you a bit later on.